Good morning, everyone. I'm here to honor our veteran of the day, Bill Grisez. Bill Grisez was born in Alliance, Ohio on May 17, 1923. His family moved to Tulsa, where he attended Holy Family Church and school in downtown Tulsa. His sense of adventure started at the age of 9, when one day, in the name of excitement, he climbed to the top of the school's bell tower, and shortly after was discovered descending from the heights before he was promptly sent home. To most of us, that would be a terrible sentence, but Bill's sense of adventure only grew as he got older. During the summer of 1940, at the age of 16, Bill joined the Army National Guard, becoming active in the L Company 188th Infantry when he was just 17. During training, he regularly volunteered for paratrooper training at various bases, and deployments over the next couple of years brought Bill to the 82nd Airborne at Fort Benning, where he trained as a paratrooper, rigger, and a demolitions expert before being sent to Casablanca, North Africa. Little did he know that his next adventure would be parachuting behind enemy lines in Sicily. On the night of July 9th, 1943, with the war in Europe in full swing, Bill and approximately 400 other combat soldiers parachuted into Sicily, about 50 miles behind enemy lines. Their objective was to capture the small town of Gila, Sicily, and to hold it until reinforcements arrived. Badly blown off course due to high winds, the infantry landed smack in the middle of several thousand German soldiers. Bill still remembers the pinging sound of enemy ground fire hitting their aircraft before they jumped. Of those nearly 400 men who jumped that night, only 5% survived. Under the cover of darkness, Bill hit the ground, quickly got out of his parachute, and assembled his M1 Garand. He was alone. He spent the night hunkered down in a ditch, hearing heavy gunfire in the distance. As dawn approached, he and 3 other disoriented soldiers found each other. A gunfight ensued with German soldiers in the distance in the early dawn hours, and within an hour, the Germans had surrounded their position and they were forced to surrender. Bill remembers turning around, facing a German bayonet as he put his hands up. That surrender started his 2-year prisoner of war ordeal. The small group of American soldiers were transported to Messina, Italy, then to a prison camp in Naples. After a brief stay, working to clear the bombed roads in Naples, they were herded into boxcars and spent 6 days and 5 nights stacked shoulder to shoulder with other prisoners as the train made its way to northern Germany. Stalag 2B prison camp would be his home for the next 2 years, where they worked 7 days and 7 nights, daylight to dark, provided 1 meager bill a day, sleeping on boards, and working in farm fields wearing wooden shoes and burlap racks for socks. About 9 months into his captivity at Stalag 2B, a French civilian prisoner gave Bill a small white towel. The Red Cross had located them by now and sent monthly packages with small boxes of raisins, cigarettes, and other small items. Bill traded his cigarettes for a few colored pencils and spent the next few months creating a small American flag from this small towel and colored pencils. He hid the flag in various ways, sometimes in his underwear, sometimes covered under piles of dirt and rock. If he had been found with it, the Germans would have surely had him shot, but his patriotism prevailed. A dozen American soldiers and an untold number of French and other prisoners were gathered up in the winter of 1943 and forced to march north for 500 kilometers. The days marching seemed to last forever, and Bill still carried frequent pain from the frostbite he suffered in the harsh winter conditions. Of the 12 American POWs that started that grueling march, only 4 survived. As the march continued, the German war machine was rapidly falling apart. American forces were ahead of the Germans, and Russian forces were at their rear. About a week before the war with Germany ended in May 1945, Bill and his 3 remaining POWs came upon American troops from the 82nd Airborne, his original group. The war in Germany ended shortly thereafter, and Bill boarded a troop ship heading back to American soil. As the ship neared the American shores, Bill pulled out a burlap bag he had filled with the spoils of war. His 2 years of captivity and the painful loss of his friends in the war had taken its toll, and Bill threw the bag of German knives, Lugers, and other items over the side. They were no longer war treasures, but painful memories. He did keep one very personal artifact from his experience, that little American flag that he painstakingly created and guarded with his life. To this day, Bill still had the American flag, and it remained under his watchful guard at his home. After the war, Bill took his Army savings, bought a Harley motorcycle, and traveled the western United States. Odd jobs here and there helped him get his feet back on the ground, and a year later, he found his way back to Tulsa. At a chance bowling game one evening, he met the girl that would become his loving wife for 66 years. Bill and Rita O'Brien were married on November 6, 1948. They raised a wonderful family of 6: Jean, Susan, Donna, Bill, Jacqueline, and Julianne, that also made Tulsa their home. Bill became a self-employed businessman, enjoying weekends at Grand Lake with his family, as well as traveling and golfing. He credits his faith in God and patriotism to his country for the strength and courage to labor in the POW camps 7 days a week from dusk till dawn. This week, Bill was put on hospice care days before he turned 100 and unfortunately passed away yesterday. Because of this, he wasn't able to be here to accept his citation, but he sent his family, Steve Hingy, Rex Brown, Dax Valstra, and Kelsey Vodstra, to accept in his honor, reminding us that freedom is not without sacrifice. Bill gave his share of sacrifice and more so that all of us here today can enjoy the precious freedoms that we embrace. Before asking the clerk to read the citation, I'll ask you to just join me in a moment of silence to honor this historic man. Will the clerk read the citation?
Clerk will read.
Whereas Bill Grisez, a resident of House District 71 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he was born in Alliance, Ohio on May 17, 1923. In 1940, he joined the National Guard L Company, 180th Infantry. He then found himself in Sicily, serving as a paratrooper in World War II, about 50 miles behind enemy lines. And whereas Bill Grisez is an honored World War II veteran who survived an attack from the enemy where 400 paratroopers fought and only 5% survived. Bill Grisez was only a survivor of the POW camp from 1943 to 1945, where faith in God and his patriotism for his country gave him the strength and courage to labor in the camps. And whereas, among the most honored of all of those in public service are veterans who have protected all Americans from enemies both foreign and domestic. And whereas, the state of Oklahoma holds our veterans in the highest esteem and appreciates the sacrifices and contributions they have made to preserve our freedoms and way of life. And whereas the Oklahoma House of Representatives takes great pride in honoring you as the Veteran of the Week.
Can we give him applause, please?